to this fall series of healing conversations. I'm Loren Gailey, and I'm so happy you could join us. These healing conversations will inspire, uplift, and empower your life. Listen in to the 24 great speakers this season. For MP3s and transcripts, please visit acoustichealth.com and click on Radio Show. You can also help spread the word on this radio show with all this wonderful information that you won't find in mainstream media by sharing this with your friends and loved ones. Be sure to share this webpage with them. The speakers that are gathering for this series of healing conversations will expand your consciousness and open your heart. Sit back and journey with us in this healing conversation. This is show number 10 of the Fall Series 2012. Today we're going to continue our discussion on the great shift of the ages, and particularly Ascension and the DNA recoding that's happening within each of us. My guest today is going to talk about her profound awakening from the 3D world as she began to channel beings of light, including the Hathors, the Elohim, which is the creator aspect of God, and ascended masters and star beings. And they share with her the need for us to raise our vibrations so that we may move with Earth into the fifth dimension. Judy Satori is with thesoundoflight.com, and she's going to share with us today light language as a spiritual language that has energy encodings to help us expand into who we truly are. Welcome, Judy Satori, to Healing Conversations.
Thank you very much, Lorraine. It's very nice to be on the program today with you.
Before we get to the encodings that we all have access to, share with the audience your experience of waking up in the 90s from your 3D world and how you began to channel different beings. That's a fascinating story.
Yes, thank you. It all really began to happen for me 15 years ago in 1997 when I received in the mail a brochure about a Learn to Channel or Connect with Spirit workshop in Auckland, where I lived at the time in New Zealand. And I felt like I know a lot of people feel when they come to spiritual events and they have their own spiritual awakening. I felt really compelled to go. I knew nothing about it, and I still don't to this day know who sent the brochure to me in the mail, but I went along. And first of all, for about an hour and a half, I couldn't find the place, so I walked all around Browns Bay in Auckland trying to find it, and then got a bit frustrated and went to a coffee shop and sat down and had a latte and thought, is this something I really want to do? And there was something inside me, though, that compelled me to keep searching it. And I very quickly found the place. It was very close by. And that's when I met my first ever spiritual guide on that weekend. And his name was Balthazar. He looked to me in my mind's eye like a being, a tall man with a dark skin and a little black beard and a purple robe. And when I saw him in my mind, I also got strong energy through my body. So I knew that I wasn't making it up. I knew that this was something that was real and that was happening to me. I also got the word in my head that said Balthazar. I didn't know who Balthazar really was, but a couple of days later, I looked up the dictionary, Balthazar, and I realized that he was one of the Magi, one of the three wise men that was there at the birth of Jesus. And from that time, I started working with spirit. It was something that just progressed. For the first year, I would sit down with Balthazar every day and I would create love. Because how you connect with spirit really is you just create a feeling of love within your being and you expand that love around you so that you're sitting within a bubble of love and light. And then just by using your intention, by using your mind, you ask to connect to a spiritual being or to the highest spiritual guide who was aligned with you from the light. And that's all I did really. And it was Balthazar that connected with me. And in those days, 15 years ago, when I spoke, when I transmitted the words that he brought through me telepathically, I actually spoke in a strange language. It wasn't my voice at all. And my body shook really strongly. And I realized later that this was because I had to get used to the energy shifts within my body. My body had to recalibrate to be able to pull this particular frequency of Balthazar's through my energy circuits. Because beings of light on many different dimensions, they don't really have a name so much. They have an energy vibration, and it's their energy vibration that we need to sync with or connect with, and they need to align their energy vibration with us. It was 15 years ago. So in the year that followed 15 years ago, I just worked with him every day, and then I progressed after that into working with many of the ascended masters, many of the archangels, beings such as Metatron, Lord Melchizedek, Maitreya, really the entire spiritual hierarchy at one time I have worked with. And also at that time, 15 years ago, I didn't really realize where all this was taking me. I had no idea why I was being progressed from one to another. It was about 10 years ago in Christchurch, New Zealand, that I started speaking this language that I now speak and transmit through my eyes and through my voice and my hands, called light language. We all can speak light language because it's a spiritual language that on a soul level we could all at one time speak. And there's many different versions or dialects of spiritual language. But the version of spiritual language that I transmit through my voice and hands and eyes is really coming from the Elohim, which is the creative aspect of God, or the Archangel Metatron, whose role is to step down the energy vibrations of God into what's called the lower heavenly worlds, the 12 dimensions of these lower heavenly worlds. And also, I work a lot now with the Galactic Council, because it's the Galactic Council and the extraterrestrial beings of light who are also combined with the spiritual hierarchy to help see humanity through this time of transition, through this time of earth shift.
Then you even have a new book out now from the Galactic Council. Share with us the message in that book and the importance of it getting out now.
Yes. Well, the book is called Sunshine Before the Dawn. And it's quite interesting, really, because I never realized that I would be asked by Spirit to write a book. It all began one day back in, it's actually 2010. It was September 2010, and I was sitting on the balcony of our home here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York, looking out at the lake in front of our house. And it was about 9:30 at night and quite dark. And both my husband and I saw a large orb of light in the sky. And it was too big to be a star, and it wasn't really moving. It was just hovering. And as we watched the light, I had a lot of energy come into my throat, and my whole body shook. And I realized that whoever was on that light, which was, I think, some kind of spacecraft, was trying to communicate with me. I was told it was command of the spacecraft, and they said that they were coming soon to tell me a story, and I was to write it down and share it with people. So that was September, and it wasn't until January 2011 that I was woken up in the early hours of the morning, about between 4 and 5 a.m. It would be quite cold and crisp and snow on the ground, and I looked out the window, and there was the light again. And I got telepathically a message in my mind which says, "Get up, it's time to write the book. It's time to write the story." After a couple of days of this, but I didn't immediately get up. I was cold, warm and snug in my bed, really. I got up, and I realized that I had to write the story, and I started writing it, and it took me a whole year to write it. This story, it's actually an adventure story and a romance novel, really. But I was told that it's true, and I know that it's true because it's the story of a woman called Iphigenia and a man, a Lyran called Mystenia, who is the leader of the Galactic Council. But it's also the story of all of us. It's the story of why we came to the earth and what it is that we're now to do. You see, when I got to the end of the book, writing the end of the book, which was December last year, I then got told the title. Every word was telepathically downloaded to me, you see, so I virtually brought through the whole book word for word. At the start of it, I didn't know what the story was even about or that it even had a plot, but it actually does. It has quite a interesting plot, and it's, as I said, it's adventure, it's mystery, it's romance. And I think Spirit brought it through in that way, so that even though there's a great deal of information encoded in the story about life in other dimensions, life on Sirius, life on Lyra, and why we came to the Earth, it's told in this way so that people would enjoy reading it. It's not like a heavy-duty spiritual book that is quite dry. It's quite different, but the words are also coded. They activate people. I've had a lot of people write to me and say that they cried all through the book, or that they started to feel strong memory recall, that sort of thing. It's an activation, even though it's a written activation.
An activation to help people remember why we came to the Earth?
Why we came to the Earth from the stars. You see, because we're all star-seeded. We all came here on a soul level at one time or another from one of the other star systems within what's called these 12 dimensions of the lower worlds, or the lower heavenly worlds, where beings can take on physical form. And we have all come through a stargate, or a portal in time and space called the Stargate of Lyra, Lyra. Lyra is 12-dimensional. So we came through from higher dimensional worlds, what we might call the higher heavenly worlds, where beings, they may take on physical form, but it's not a flesh and blood physical form like we have. Beings come through this 12-dimensional stargate called Lyra and begin to have lives on other star systems, and eventually come down to this, what has been for all this long period of time, third-dimensional Earth. I was told when I was writing the story that we began to come from these star worlds, or these other heavenly worlds within the 12 dimensions, around about 100,000 years ago.
For the entire conversation, visit acoustichealth.com and click on Radio Show and register for the 24-show series of healing conversations. I now leave you with music from the universe, literally created by the universe, as musical composer Phil Windsor assigned musical notes to mathematical equations, and the result is this beautiful music. Visit acoustichealth.com. Healing Conversations are brought to you by acoustichealth.com. The guests and topics discussed on the show will uplift, inspire, and empower you to co-create a beautiful life and a new earth. These healing conversations help you discover and step into your power, your passion, and your purpose. The speakers in this series are new paradigm thinkers, healers, and spiritual teachers with ancient wisdom and cosmic knowledge to share during this great shift of the ages and beyond. MP3s and transcripts are available for the entire series, along with a season event pass to online healing retreats. Visit acoustichealth.com and click on Radio Show. Many blessings and abundance for all.